Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with the first episode in what's going to be hopefully a very long-running playthrough for RimWorld 1.0. This is our first RimWorld 1.0 playthrough, but we'll have several more coming in the near future, hopefully. So this is probably going to be our most ambitious RimWorld playthrough so far, and possibly for a while, because as many of you might know, but I'm sure plenty of you don't, we are going to be trying to set up our own dinosaur theme park, if you will. So sort of like the park in Jurassic World. We're going to be attempting to do something similar here. And obviously we're getting a very humble start, so we have a long way to go. Being the first episode, we're going to be doing a lot of introductory stuff before we get into the actual gameplay. So I'll try to timestamp somewhere in the comments so that if you're not interested in getting to know the characters and our plans, you can just jump ahead. But I think that stuff will be very important moving forward, so it might be worth sticking around and listening. So with that said, I'm going to introduce our characters, and then we're going to run through the plan that we've got. I haven't zoned anything on the map yet. Normally for my RimWorld playthroughs, I'll kind of use the planning tool to set up a base schematic, and then we'll kind of add on to it. But because this playthrough is going to be so ambitious, I haven't even begun to figure out where we're going to do a lot of this stuff, because it's pretty much going to encompass all, or at least most, of this little map here. Anyways, to the characters. So I'll just go in order. Our first character is Riker. He is a discharged soldier or combat medic. I'll jump into his bio here. So 37 years old. He is probably our best combatant. I think he has the highest shooting skill and among the highest for melee. He's also, I think, our best cook. Decent with animals. He's got a medical background. He, again, was a combat medic. Fairly sociable. And he does have a little bit of interest in intellectual stuff with that medic background, but he's not very proficient in it. And so his traits are iron-willed, great memory, and careful shooter. And he is currently equipped with, let's jump into the gear tab. I'm running the RPG gear tab mod or whatever, so it lays it out like this, but if you want to, you can click that and bring it back to the old school one. But I kind of like this better just to see what they're wearing. Oh, one quick thing. I didn't want to get too much into mods, but I am running a mod that gets rid of incapabilities. And so rather than being incapable of stuff, our pawns have hated work types. And so it's not necessarily that they can't do those jobs, it's that they will take constant mood penalties while they're doing it. And they will also suffer major effectiveness drops as it goes on. So I think that's a much more realistic way to handle that. And I think it balances the game better too. So rather than, I'll discuss it more later because we have some characters that are incapable of stuff, but just so you know. Anyways, for his gear, he's just wearing some basic combat shirt and jeans. He has this AR-500 plate carrier vest for a little bit of protection. It actually doesn't show the armor ratings in this overlay here, but it does have some armor to it. It also slows him down a bit and makes him aim a bit more quickly. But if we go into here, we can see that it does provide some protection, particularly against sharp or, like bullets. And he is armed with an L129A1, which is a British designated marksman rifle. If you're familiar with like the platform that the M4s and M16s are based on, it's essentially the same platform, just scaled up for 7.62 caliber bullets. And it's essentially an SR-25, but with a shorter barrel. He's also got a bola on him, but I'm actively having him swap that out for a stun gun. And I'll talk more about that later. So that's Riker. Again, our primary character, one of our main combatants, also kind of a medic, and currently our top chef. All right, so moving on, we have Virgil. Virgil is a combat engineer, so he's going to fill or have similar skills to Riker, at least initially. So pretty good combatant, not quite the same skill at shooting that Riker has. He is very proficient at construction, has a lot of passion for it. He's also pretty passionate about mining, but doesn't have the same background there. And he's our best crafter, although doesn't share quite the same interest. He's also a little bit artistic and is very sociable. He's an optimist, hard worker, and trigger happy. So while Riker is very measured with his shots, with his marksman rifle, Virgil is kind of a spray and pray type of character. And moving into his gear, he's outfitted essentially the same as Riker, except he's got this PMC cap on with the headset, and then different casual clothing. I believe they have slightly different stats as well. Let's see. So melee dodge, melee hit, and medical 10 speed. Whereas he has melee dodge, shooting, well, it's +0 to shooting accuracy, that doesn't help. But a slight boost to negotiation. So that actually fits their character types a little bit. And then rather than the L129A1, he has an M4. This is the Fallujah variant. There's actually several in the mod that I'm running. But this is a short-barreled carbine, so it's going to have a higher rate of fire but less accuracy. And then he's also got a stun gun as his secondary. Moving on, we have Tails, who is our wildlife park ranger. She does have a little bit of military background in that she's been trained and has dealt with poachers and whatnot, so she's seen a little bit of combat, but not in the military sense that these two have. So she's a decent shot, not quite as proficient at melee, but she does have a little bit of passion for both. She hates art and cleaning, so again, she will be able to do those, but she will be unhappy about it the entire time. She has a lot of passion and skill in dealing with plants and animals, being from her wildlife background. And she is also somewhat proficient in medicine, just because she has survival training. She's also sociable like the other two, and again, a little bit more intellectual background because she's been educated about plants and animals. She's kind, tough, and a fast walker, so she moves around really quickly. She's used to being out in the wilderness. She is used to getting her bumps and bruises, and she's just a friendly person. Moving on to her gear, she is wearing, again, just basic clothing. These apparently have the same stats as Virgil's clothes. She's wearing a lighter vest than theirs, so it has the same aiming bonus, but it has a smaller speed penalty, and I think it has it's about the same armor rating. And then she's carrying the Kandahar variant of the M4, which I think they all have the same stats, they just look a little bit different. And then she has a smaller backpack than the other two, although apparently the stats for it are exactly the same, but it just looks a little bit smaller. And so for any wildlife taming, she's going to be the one probably doing it. I think I have her set as the primary hunter as well. Even though Riker is a little bit better shot, he's going to need to be cooking while Tails is out in the wilderness doing stuff. And so continuing on, we have Woody. Woody is the first of our two scientists, so I've tried to make them fairly distinct with white dusters to emulate lab coats. Woody, or Dr. Derek Woody Woodham, is sort of just like a biological researcher. He is a night owl, too smart and industrious, so he's a little bit like neurotic. And he hates violence, so he's not a terrible shot, but he hates having to fight. He doesn't like violence, so I'm not going to have him equipped with a weapon. I think he actually takes a mood penalty just for carrying one. But in a pinch, he could, pick up a pistol and defend himself. So his proficiencies are going to be focused mainly on medicine and research. He is the best researcher we have at 16. He's also tied for the best doctor at 12. I believe his plant skill is slightly higher than Tails, but he has less passion for it. So he is familiar with plants, being a biological researcher, but he's not too interested in growing them. And same goes for animals. And then he's familiar with tinkering, but again, not super proficient at it. In terms of gear, he's just wearing this like shirt and tie that's kind of disheveled, like his disheveled hair, and then this cloth duster that's, again, emulating a lab coat. So he's going to be at the research bench a lot of the time for us. In a pinch, he can serve as a doctor and a surgeon. And he can help us grow our crops as well. And then we move on to our last character, our last human character, Dr. I forget her first name, Izel Ayala. 35 years old. She hates violence as well and doesn't particularly enjoy cooking, so we won't have her doing either of those. She's beautiful, industrious, and fast learner. She is the most proficient in plants. I actually thought that she was lower than that, but apparently she's at 12, so most proficient. And she has a little bit of passion for it, like Woody, but Tails is still the most passionate about it. So she can help with our growing too. She really likes art and medicine, so she's going to be our primary doctor, but again, Woody will help out with that too, and Riker can as well. He'll probably do more of the field treatments, whereas once we get people back to base, these two will handle it. She's a bit more sociable and very intellectual, but obviously Woody has her beat in that regard, so he'll be doing most of the research. Later on, if we don't have anything for her to do, we could make a second research bench and have her help out with that. And because she's industrious and fast learner, not only will she get this stuff done very quickly, but she'll level up in it very quickly too. And she should be pretty popular around the base, given that she's beautiful with moderate social skills. And then again, for her gear, she just has this basic outfit on that gives a little bit to medical 10 speed. It's actually the same clothing that Riker's wearing, just in a different color. And then, again, a lab coat. And then our final character, that's not a human, is our German Shepherd Beatrice. She is fully trained and bonded to Riker, so she's Riker's dog. She'll be following him around wherever he goes. And so those are our characters and kind of what they're going to be doing. I already have the work priorities set up. If you've seen my other playthroughs, you have a pretty good idea of, what I'd like to do. So everything that needs to be done immediately, like fighting fires, getting treated, resting when they're sick or injured, or flipping switches, are all set to 1. Crafting and hauling are 4 for everybody. I have Tails set to no cleaning because, again, she hates that, but that might change. If we desperately need cleaning to get done, I can fiddle with these. And then everything else is set to either 2 or 3, with a couple of exceptions. So their main jobs are going to be set to 2. So, for example, Dr. Ayala is going to have a 2 in doctoring, which is her main job. I might bump growing up to 2 just so she helps out with that more. Maintaining vats is for our research stuff that we'll get into later. Let's see. Riker, cooking is set to 2 because right now he's the only cook we really have, but that will change. With Tails, she's set to growing 2 because we need to grow food. Later on, we might move that around as well, as we have dedicated farmers. Virgil, construction's his main job, and then with Woody, doctoring and research. And then again, everything else is set to a 3 or a 4. I usually reserve 2 for primary job, 3 for secondary job, and then 4 for stuff to do in the background or the meantime, and anything I want to be able to order them to do but not necessarily have them do on their own. So for somebody like Tails, I should probably set her doctoring to 4. That way, she's not going to jump in and try to doctor anybody over these other characters. But if I need to, I can right-click on a character and say, hey, go prioritize tending to that person. Alright, so with that out of the way, we are going to try to establish a dinosaur theme park, as I said. And so that's going to encompass a lot of different things. We're going to have animal pens for the dinosaurs. We're going to have hotels for the guests to stay in, arcades, shops. We'll need a barracks for our security teams. The security teams are going to have a lot of different jobs, and that will probably fall to Riker eventually as we become a little bit more specialized. But essentially what they're going to be doing is defending the base from raiders, defending the base from animal attacks, and going out and collecting new dinosaurs. I don't intend to necessarily tame the dinosaurs that we're going to be putting on display. I don't think that that fits from a roleplay perspective necessarily. And it could be very dangerous because, taming a T-Rex has a pretty good chance to go wrong and get somebody eaten. So what I think we're going to do instead is try to incapacitate them and then move them into an enclosed area And so long as we keep providing them with food, they shouldn't try to break out. So we'll have dinosaurs that are technically hostile that, you know, if they break out, we might need to go put down. And we'll probably have like fairly large enclosure areas all over this and stuff like that. But we will still tame dinosaurs. I am running the Giddy Up suite of mods, and so there are a couple like parasaurs on the map, for example, that we can use to ride around on. So dinosaurs like that we will tame. I might tame some raptors as like a part of our security team as well. But for the dinosaurs that are part of the exhibit, I'm going to not tame them and see if that's a viable way to do it. What else? There's other stuff we're going to need. Obviously, we'll need a place to do our research, and I am running the genetics mod, Rim Genetics or whatever it's called. So we can actually genetically engineer these dinosaurs and create hybrids. That's going to require a lot of research, though, and then a facility to do all that, because there's actually quite a few different benches that work with that. If you've seen my Star Wars playthrough, you're probably vaguely familiar with that that mod. And what else? I have organ growing vats. I think we can clone dinosaurs as well. So there's a lot of science stuff that'll be happening, and that'll need its own place. We'll need some sort of production facility, because obviously, you know, the security team's not going to arm itself. The base isn't going to build itself, and so we'll need a lot of stuff like that. We've got some more dinosaurs up here as well. Nothing hostile on the map, though. Other than, I think there's a few panthers. Yeah, there's 3 panthers. And I think there was some snakes. There's a cobra. So that's what we'll have to watch out for initially. Also, there's a lot of rats. And the rats might try to eat our food. In fact, this one looks like it's going for it right away. So I think that's enough of an explanation for now. We'll discuss things more as we get into it. But let's see. Virgil, do me a favor and drop that rat before it eats any of our meals. And then let's go ahead and set up a few basic jobs here. So let's see. I already put a stockpile here for our components and our silver. I'm going to door this off and roof it over. But I'd like to maybe throw down a stockpile here as well. What I need to do first is probably cut all the trees in this area. So let's do that. And I don't know where we're going to build our initial hut. Could be there, maybe here. So let's click and drag that right there, and we'll clear out that space for building. Actually, I should have just done chop wood there, but that's fine. We'll get it all cleared out. And then we're going to start building. I'm probably going to stick with this UN stuff here, or at least some of it. I really like the aesthetic of it, especially these like corrugated steel buildings. Unfortunately, we can't make them yet. You need to produce steel plates to do that. And in order to make the steel plates, I think you have to go through these industry buildings where, no, maybe not, because you obviously couldn't. Well, maybe you need steel plates in order to make steel plates. But anyways, there's like a production line that you can set up. Unfortunately, this mod has a lot of additional things you have to build to create stuff. So we'll probably not be using a lot of it just for that reason. But anything in that mod that requires basic resources, like the wooden furniture here that just takes regular wood, we'll use. These wooden walls we'll use. There's also wooden embrasures. Various wooden doors, wooden floors, wooden fences, and all that good stuff. So we will probably make a little wooden building here once we get the trees cleared out and then wood stockpiled somewhere. So let's let them take care of that. Virgil, please watch your fire. Okay, there you go. It would really suck for you to shoot our dog on the first couple minutes of this playthrough. So we started out with a bunch of packaged survival meals. We have 5 sleeping bags. I actually forgot to include these when I started, so I had to spawn them in with the dev tools. That's why they're all different materials and qualities. We have 20 medicine, 3 bolas. Tails has 1, and the other 2 are not being used. Actually, Riker has both. That's interesting. I forgot that they could have more than 1. Maybe I'll have Virgil carry 1 as well. But they are 1 use. So we'll have to see about that. Anyways, we're getting our valuables thrown in here. Let's see. Let's create a stockpile right there. And we'll have to throw a roof over it. Hopefully those will keep this from collapsing. I think it will. Yeah, it should. And rendering map image, what's happening? This is my very first playthrough of 1.0, so forgive me if I'm not super familiar with all the changes. We'll get used to it though. Virgil, be very careful over there. I do not want you losing an eye to a roof cave-in. For some reason, that's the only body part that ever gets taken out by a roof, at least in my experience, but there we go. We'll get everything dropped in there just to ensure that it doesn't deteriorate. And then in our nice clearing, we'll get started on building. Okay, so let's start with this. We'll go with just some wooden walls. Maybe 15 across like so. 16? Let's go 17, because we're going to clear some of that as well. And we'll kind of break this up. We'll have like a dormitory area, we'll have a working area, and like a seating area to eat. That way nobody's going to be interrupting anyone's sleep with their various day-to-day jobs. By the way, I'm running the mod facial stuff, which allows me to combine hair and beards and stuff for more variety. It also adds, by default, these little hands and feet. I can turn it off at any point, though, so if you guys aren't a fan, I can get rid of it. I thought it was kind of funny, though, so I'm going to run it for this first episode, and you guys are welcome to tell me whether you'd like to keep it or not. But again, I can turn it off at any point. It's just a matter of toggling it. And I can do hands and feet, just hands or none. So if you prefer somewhere in between, we can do that as well. But for now, I'm going to leave it. Again, I think it's kind of funny. I won't be running it for the other playthroughs, though, because it always matches the character's skin color. And so, for example, the Warhammer 40k playthrough we're doing, they're going to be in red power armor. I think it would look a bit weird if you could see their hands and feet in flesh color, so we won't be running it for that one. We probably won't be running it for the Star Wars one either. So let's go ahead and wrap this around here as well. 13. Let's bring it to like 11. Oh no, don't do that, don't do that. I didn't mean to put it there. I meant to put it here. So we'll do 11, and then I should probably put a door in there somewhere. So let's grab a vertical door right in. Ooh, it's actually not going to be centered, is it? Because this is technically 12. So let's get rid of 1. And then, with our wooden door, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should be the middle. Oh, it won't let me place them in anymore. Maybe because it's modded. But with the vanilla stuff, you used to be able to override a wall with a door like that. So we'll drop one in there. Let's do the same on this side. So we'll do 4 and 5. So that's 5 above, 5 below. Door in the middle. And we'll go with that for now, and I'll see what I want to do about this bottom wall. But what I might do is just split it down the middle. Have another door over here for them to get into like the bedroom area, and then this will just be one large room with a research bench and some tables and chairs. Something like that. Okay, so this stuff is all out of the open air. Is it still deteriorating? Yeah, because it's still outdoors. So we'll need to get that inside. We'll probably just store it next to the tables and chairs. How are we doing on wood? Pretty good. We should have plenty of wood to get this done. Obviously, we can always cut more if we need to. So, regarding animals, I'm a little bit reluctant to take on too many. As we've seen in other playthroughs, animals can get really out of hand really quickly. But with all these boars and these alpaca, I was tempted to tame a few and use the boars as a reliable food source, because boars give birth to other boars very quickly. especially if we have like 2 females. So I was thinking that it might be worth creating like a little boar family that we can, again, keep as not necessarily pets, but as, you know, a reliable source of food. And I could also slaughter them and turn them into kibble for the dinosaurs. So that's something I was thinking of. And then obviously having a renewable source of wool is helpful. We're going to need to start killing some stuff pretty quickly here, because I am a little bit concerned that we're going to eat through our survival meals fairly quickly. But once we get this done, we can throw down a wood floor. So there's these floors here. I don't know if the Red Horse mod has any floors. No, it doesn't. I also have the More Floors mod running. By the way, I'm going to put together a mod collection for this. Probably after I finish recording, so you guys should be able to just download everything I'm running in this. I'm not running anything custom, at least not yet. But I might add a few things. I thought it might be fun to create like a custom t-shirt and sweatshirt to have as like stuff that we're selling at the park. But I might just use, like, for example, Tails is wearing a hoodie from, this is from the Red Horse mod as well. It's like Rimunation clothing. So just retexture it with whatever our park name is, and then we'll have like a t-shirt one as well that people can buy. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna need a divider. I think right there is about center. We'll get rid of this one and put a door in there as well. And I'm probably going to get rid of these and add some doors. I don't know that I necessarily want doors on every side, but it might be better to have more access points just for the sake of efficiency. Okay, and now that that's done, we can go ahead and throw a roof on it. We'll get a floor and start moving in. Oh, we got to get rid of this. I don't know how they missed. That must have sprung up while we were doing this, because I'm pretty sure they cleared all this out. Alright. Oh, Virgil's already hitting on Dr. Ayala. So, more floors. Do I prefer any of these? I think I do. I think I like... those are fairly inexpensive. Those are fairly inexpensive. Easy to build as well. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll get some nice wood flooring in there. I don't know how permanent this building is going to be, because obviously we might need to move it depending on how this park fleshes out. But for now, we're just going to make it as habitable as possible. That way these guys are fairly comfortable. We're going to need power as well. The issue there is I do not have the ability to make... let's see. Yeah, I can't make solar panels yet, so I can throw down a wind turbine somewhere. Wind turbines aren't terribly consistent, though. But I do have the steel and the components for it, so I guess that's better than nothing, right? We'll put one there. And we can run a conduit from... Is that part of the wind turbine? I guess we'll do this, and then we can at least have some stuff going on here. So we'll wrap that around, and we'll run one through the center as well, so that we can get some basic lighting in here. As far as cooking goes, I'm going to use this, where is it, the portable stove, because it's fairly small, and we can use wood to fuel it. I think we can use wood, hopefully. If it's chem fuel, that might be a problem. I guess we'll see. It's not going to tell me now. Also, what I could do is... Oh, I need to make glass panes for this. I was going to say we could use skylights for some natural lighting in here during the day. It would save us power, at least. But that's going to require production that we don't have access to yet. Okay. So as they take care of that, let's go into production. And we're going to need a research bench. I think we only have access to the basic one right now. I'm using the, I forget what it's called. It's the Lone Explorer start, so you can start with 3 in the crash landed, or What was that about? Why did you... Oh, I don't think I can have both of these going at once. Oh well. Anyways, the crash landed starts you with 3 and like moderate technology. The tribe gives you very poor technology, but 5 characters to start, and then there's a start that gives you 1 character with advanced technology. That's the start we're using, but I've used prepare carefully to give me these 5 characters instead. And so that should give you an idea of my current technological level. Let's get these installed so that they have a place to sleep. And we'll figure it out from there. But eventually what I'd like to do... Oh, they didn't bother doing that wall yet. Great. I shouldn't have put it there. Oh well. Virgil, could you get that wall done so that this is an enclosed space? Because that's a lot more important than conduits. Especially considering... I should have waited on the conduits, because if this isn't built, there's no reason to have them. But we'll see. Everybody's working, so this should get done fairly quickly. Everybody's contributing, which is always nice. I wouldn't mind actually a wooden floor there either. Good, they're moving the beds in. And they should go to sleep fairly quickly. Again, gonna need to keep an eye on these rats, because they will try to eat our food. I will move the food inside so that it won't be a problem, but I'd like to get this done first. How many... Let's see, they'll stack as high as 10. So that gives me... It looks like I'll need 9, so a 3x3 stockpile will be enough. So we'll do that. Actually, I'd rather have it here. So, wait, where is it? Where's the delete? Oh, it's on this, right. God, I don't play for a week and I'm already rusty. Okay, and... Nope. There we go. This is only going to be for our meals. So clear all. Food, meals. Right now, just the packaged survival meals. And that's going to be set to important. So no animals will steal our food. At least... None from the outside. If they sneak in here, that'll be different. That's fine. I'm going to move it over at some point, though, because that's kind of inefficient space-wise. I can get 4 across if I do it like this. I can only do 3 if I do it like that. Those aren't going to be our main beds, though. What we're going to do instead of those is... at least for now, I really like the furniture in this Red Horse mod. Again, I think it's part of Rimunation furniture, but there's some cool stuff in here, and it's all kind of military themed, so it fits in a survival situation like this. But the wooden military cot, I think, is going to be our standard bed, at least for the time being. We can build those with wood; they're fairly inexpensive, and then that way, anybody that goes on a caravan trip can use these sleeping bags because they're a lot more mobile. We can pick them up and put them down as needed. So why is there still dirt showing? Do I need to lay down wooden floors underneath? I think I do. Okay, so we're gonna run wood flooring all around the edges. I think that's actually a mistake on the mod author's part. You shouldn't need to do that unless that's just new to 1.0. But in beta 18, I never got around to beta 19. In beta 18, if you put a wall down, that would basically cut off the dirt underneath. And so you didn't need to have a floor under it to hide it. But in this case, it looks like we do. Okay, so while they're sleeping, I'm going to throw a couple more things down, and then we're going to go ahead and call it a day because this episode is already verging on like 35 minutes. So what we need, and what I meant to do before, was come in here and grab a research bench. I'm going to make a steel one, even though that might be a poor choice given our current resources. So I'm going to make a steel research bench right here. And then we're going to go back into... Let's see, do I prefer the Red Horse stuff or the UN furniture? In this case, I think I like the UN stuff, so let's grab one of these. And I think right there is fine. So we're going to have a table. And do I want... these are really inexpensive, so we'll just do some of these. They can eat right there. And again, we need to be able to cook. So that is in the Red Horse tab. We'll do this portable stove. I guess right here is fine. And we'll see whether or not that's able to take wood as fuel. If it's not, then we're going to have to find a different means of cooking. We can always use... Let's see. Production. I'll have to see whether or not the... Where is it? The fueled stove can use wood. I feel like it can, but it might require chem fuel as well. It's been a long time since I've used a fueled stove and not just an electric one. Although, depending on how effective and consistent this is, we might be able to just go right to the electric stove and not worry about it. So I guess we'll see. And then, I'm not going to put these in now because they're not as important. But in furniture, we have these steel chandeliers. I'm probably just going to do the small ones for now. But we'll put one there and one here. And I guess I can just forbid them for the time being, so that they don't do them quite yet. But that should get these lit well enough for them to work effectively. I'll probably need a chair for you as well. So I guess for now this is good enough. And yeah, that's our basic little survival bunker for now. We have our stockpile over here. At least it's roofed off. It's a bit far from this, but it's good enough. And you know what? One last thing. I think that's actually under... Nope. There it is. Let's do a wooden gate. These are the most expensive door that we have right there, just so that if anything wants to steal our components or our silver, they've got to at least go through something first. It gives us a small window to come deal with it. They'll be able to break through fairly easily, though. So, oh, I forgot an animal bed. I feel terrible now. Furniture. I don't have any cloth, so it's going to have to be just an animal sleeping spot, but that's still better than nothing. And Beatrice will have to come, I guess, in the morning and sleep there or something, but I can't wake her up to go send her there. So, that's it for today. I need a couple things from you guys in the comments. First of all, let me know what you think about taming some of these animals for utility purposes, whether it be food, in the case of the boars, or a renewable wool source in the alpaca. And then, what do you think about the dinosaurs? Should we tame everything, or should we try what I suggested before, where we basically incapacitate them and then just carry them into an enclosed area and let them wake up? I don't think they'll try to break out if we keep them fed, but I, again, haven't played 1.0, so I'm not super familiar with animal behavior, whether or not it's changed. But I know that as long as wild animals have a food source, they won't try to break out of an area in older versions. So I would like to try that, because again, I feel like that's more realistic. You can't really tame a T-Rex, at least not in anywhere other than like Ark Survival Evolved. But again, I feel like that's a bit more realistic, so I prefer to do that. But if it's not going to work, then there's no point getting people killed trying it. And what else? Plans for the base. Feel free to suggest various buildings that we should have. I've already mentioned a few. Accommodations and zoning as well. If you think, there's a good way for us to lay this out, feel free to let me know, because it's going to be very hard to plan everything given the variety of stuff we're going to have. So feel free to help me in that regard as well. And then I'll be taking names for characters as always, but until we have a character, probably not worth suggesting names. I will come up with a tag for this playthrough though, so that any names you suggest can be marked with a tag so I can find them later. But no point worrying about that now. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really looking forward to all these new 1.0 playthroughs. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This is something completely different than we've ever tried before. It's a lot less militaristic and a lot more... I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, because there's so many different things we're trying to do. We're trying to bring in as many guests as possible and make a bunch of money off of them. We're trying to have a lot of different attractions and accommodations, but we're also doing a lot of science and research. And then we're going to be going out looking for specific animals and trying to bring them back. And I'll get more into how we're going to do that in the next episode, because I have a plan, but I won't be able to show you guys it yet, so we'll see. But anyways, thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for part 2.